This video is about famous people who passed away from 1st to 10th of March 2017 in the United States. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Miriam Collins, she was born in August 1936 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 80 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death were complications from a pulmonary embolism. Miriam Collins was a pioneering and highly respected Puerto Rican actress of stage and screen. She was the founder and longtime director of the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater in New York City, a vital institution for Hispanic artists. She was also a familiar face in film, with memorable roles as the mother of Al Pacino's character in Scarface and as Mama Bautista in All the Pretty Horses. Joni Sledge, she was born in September 1956 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 60 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Joni Sledge was an American singer who was a founding member of the iconic R&B and disco vocal group Sister Sledge. Along her three sisters, she was one of the lead vocalists for the group, which shot to international stardom with their timeless 1979 disco anthem, We Are Family. The song became a global phenomenon, and the group continued to be a beloved act for decades. Michael M. Ryan, he was born in March 1929 and he died in March 2017. His age was 87 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from emphysema. Michael M. Ryan was an American actor best known for his long and popular run on the daytime soap opera Another World. For over a decade, he portrayed John Randolph, a central character on the show, making him a household name for daytime television audiences. He also had a successful career in theater, appearing in several Broadway productions. Richard Caron, he was born in April 1934 and he died in March 2017. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Richard Caron was an American actor and voice actor with a distinctive, gravelly voice. He was best known for providing the voices for several characters, including the dim-witted Rudy on the classic 1970s animated series Fat Albert and The Cosby Kids. He also appeared in numerous films and television shows, often in comedic tough guy roles. Lawrence Holof Sr., he was born in February 1926 and he died in March 2017. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Lawrence Holof Sr. was an American author, poet, and sculptor. He was best known for his 1995 sculpture, Elise, which depicts a life-sized Franklin D. Roosevelt and Winston Churchill sitting in a conversation on a bench located on Bond Street in London. He also had a successful earlier career as a Broadway lyricist and playwright. Bob Altman, he was born in September 1931 and he died in March 2017. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Bob Altman was an American comedian and free associating thinker, more popularly known as Uncle Dirty. He wrote for Richard Pryor. Altman is also known for playing Karen's dad in the 1990 movie Goodfellas. At the height of his career, Altman put out comedy albums in the early 1970s, as much of his act was too risque for television. He is the father of comedian Carlin Altman. Bobby Byrne, he was born in 1932 and he died in March 2017. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Bobby Byrne was an American cinematographer. Byrne initially worked as an animation cameraman prior to moving into the live-action cinematography. He worked in the camera department for Conrad L. Hall and William A. Franker. Franker assigned Byrne to work as the camera operator on his directorial debut, Monty Walsh. Other credits as cameraman-operator include Pepper Moon and New York, New York. Byrne joined the American Society of Cinematographers in 1994. Robert Osborne, he was born in May 1932 and he died in March 2017. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Robert Osborne was a beloved and revered American film historian and television personality. He was the primary host for the cable channel tuner Classic Movies (TCM) from its inception in 1994 until 2016. Known for his encyclopedic knowledge, elegant demeanor, and genuine passion for cinema, he became a trusted and iconic face of classic film for millions of years. Tommy Page, he was born in May 1967 and he died in March 2017. His age was 49 at the time of his death and he took his own life. Tommy Page was an American singer and songwriter who was a popular teen idol in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He was best known for his 1990 #1 hit single, "I'll Be Your Everything," a ballad he co-wrote with members of New Kids on the Block. After his pop stardom, he became a successful music executive, working as publisher for Billboard magazine and an A&R executive at Warner Brothers Records. Dave Valentin, he was born in April 1952 and he died in March 2017. His age was 64 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from a stroke. Dave Valentin was a Grammy Award-winning American jazz flutist who was a major figure in the world of Latin jazz. He was known for his virtuosic and soulful playing, which blended jazz, Latin, and pop influences into a distinctive and accessible sound. A longtime recording artist for the GRP label, he was a popular and celebrated performer for over 4 decades. Jay Lynch, he was born in January 1945 and he died in March 2017. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from lung cancer. Jay Lynch was a highly influential and pioneering American cartoonist who was a key figure in the underground comics movement of the 1960s and 70s. He was the founder and editor of the seminal comics anthology Bijou Funnies and was known for his satirical and subversive characters. He later had a long and successful career as a writer for Topps, where he created many of the iconic Wacky Packages and Garbage Pail Kids sticker series. Lyle Ritz, he was born in January 1930 and he died in March 2017. His age was 87 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Lyle Ritz was a legendary American session musician who was a member of the famed Wrecking Crew. As a bassist, his work can be heard on hundreds of classic pop and rock hits from the 1960s and 70s. He was also considered the father of jazz ukulele, as his groundbreaking 1950s albums were the first to showcase ukulele as a serious jazz instrument. Howard Schmidt, he was born in October 1949 and he died in March 2017. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from a brain tumor. Howard Schmidt was a leading American expert on cybersecurity who served as a top advisor to 2 United States presidents. He was appointed as the first White House cybersecurity coordinator under President Barack Obama, a role often referred to as the Cyber Czar. He also served as a special advisor for cyberspace security to President George W. Bush and had a long career in both the public and private sectors. Joe Rogers, he was born in November 1919 and he died in March 2017. His age was 97 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Joe Rogers Sr. was an American restaurateur who, along with his neighbor Tom Faulkner, co-founded the iconic Waffle House restaurant chain. They opened the first Waffle House in Avondale Estate, Georgia in 1955, building it into a 24/7 Southern institution with thousands of locations. He was a pioneering figure in the restaurant industry, known for his focus on customer service and employee loyalty. Eugene N. Kozlov, he was born in September 1920 and he died in March 2017. His age was 96 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Eugene Nicholas Kozlov was a distinguished marine biologist and a longtime professor at University of Washington. He was a leading authority on the marine invertebrate life of the Pacific Northwest, and his detailed and accessible guidebooks became essential references for students and researchers in the field. He was a beloved and respected teacher at the university's Friday Harbor Laboratories for decades. Thomas Tarzal, he was born in March 1926 and he died in March 2017. His age was 90 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Dr. Thomas E. Tarzal was a legendary American surgeon and medical researcher who was widely regarded as the father of modern transplantation. In 1963, he performed the world's first successful liver transplant, and he was a pioneer in developing immunosuppressive drug therapies that made organ transplantation a viable medical procedure. His groundbreaking work has saved and extended the lives of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. George Andreola, he was born in May 1927 and he died in March 2017. His age was 89 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Dr. George Andreola was a Hungarian-American chemist who was awarded the 1994 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his groundbreaking research on carbocations. His work revolutionized the field of organic chemistry and led to the development of superacids, which are far stronger than conventional acids. His research had profound implications for the production of cleaner, higher-octane gasoline and other industrial processes. Wally Picard, he was born in February 1927 and he died in March 2017. His age was 90 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Wally Picard was a beloved and versatile American musician and entertainer, best known as a trumpet player in the world of polka music. A member of the Polka Music Hall of Fame, he was a fixture at festivals and ballrooms across the Midwest for decades. He was a multi-talented showman, known for his musical skill, his comedy, and his ability to play two trumpets at once. Stephen Ross, he was born in February 1944 and he died in March 2017. His age was 73 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Dr. Stephen Ross was a highly influential and world-renowned financial economist, a longtime professor at MIT and Yale. He was best known as the creator of arbitrage pricing theory, a major model of assets pricing. He also made foundational contributions to the theory of agency and the development of the binomial options pricing model, making him a true giant in the field of modern finance. Clayton Uter, he was born in December 1930 and he died in March 2017. His age was 86 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from colon cancer. Clayton Uter was a distinguished American politician and diplomat who was a leading figure in agricultural and trade policy. He served as a United States Secretary of Agriculture and as a United States Trade Representative under President George H.W. Bush. A skilled negotiator, he played a crucial role in major international trade agreements, including the United States-Canada Free Trade Agreement and the Uruguay round of GATT. Helen M. Marshall, she was born in September 1929 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 87 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Helen M. Marshall was an influential and long-serving Democratic politician from New York City. She served for over a decade as the Queens Borough president, becoming the first African-American to hold the position. Prior to that, she was a longtime member of the New York State Assembly and the New York City Council, where she was a dedicated advocate for her community. Carol Field, she was born in March 1940 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 76 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was stroke. Carol Field was a celebrated American author and food writer who was a leading authority on Italian baking. Her James Bread Award-winning 1985 book, The Italian Baker, is considered a classic and was instrumental in introducing authentic regional Italian breads and pastries to American home bakers. She was a meticulous researcher and a gifted writer who opened up a new world of baking for many. Peter Karoff, he was born in May 1937 and he died in March 2017. His age was 79 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Peter Karoff was an American businessman and a prominent thought leader in the world of philanthropy. He was the founder and chairman of the Philanthropic Initiative, TPI, an influential non-profit advisory firm that helps individuals, families, and corporations to engage in strategic philanthropy. He was a passionate advocate for making charitable giving more effective and meaningful. Helen Somers, she was born in March 1932 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 84 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Helen Somers was a long-serving and powerful Democratic politician from Washington state. She served for an incredible 36 years in the Washington House of Representatives, where she became the first woman to chair the influential House Appropriations Committee. She was a respected and formidable legislator who played a key role in shaping the state's budget for decades. Lynn Stewart, she was born in October 1939 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 77 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death were complications from a stroke and cancer. Lynn Stewart was a controversial and uncompromising American defense attorney known for her representation of radical and often notorious clients. She famously represented figures like Blind Sheikh, Omar Abdel Rahman, and members of the Black Panther Party and the Weather Underground. She was later convicted of providing material support to a terrorist organization and was granted a compassionate release from prison due to her failing health. Anthony C. Bailenson, he was born in October 1932 and he died in March 2017. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Anthony C. Bailenson was a respected and long-time serving Democratic politician from California. He served for 2 decades in the United States House of Representatives, where he was a leading voice on environmental issues. He was the author of key legislation that created the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area and was a dedicated advocate for conservation and sensible public policy. Birthday: he was born in April 1954 and he died in March 2017. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Birthday was an American politician and author. In 1994, he was elected to the Georgia House of Representatives as a Republican, representing District 153. Day continued to serve in the Georgia House of Representatives for 8 consecutive terms until January 2011. Day served on the Appropriations, Defense and Veterans Affairs, and Public Safety and Homeland Security Committees. He was the chairman of Georgia's Homeland Security and Public Safety. Thomas Collier Platt Jr., he was born in May 1925 and he died in March 2017. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Thomas Collier Platt Jr. was a senior United States District Judge who served on the federal bench in New York for over 4 decades. Appointed by President Richard Nixon in 1974, he was a highly respected jurist known for his long and dedicated service to the judiciary. He presided over numerous significant cases during his long tenure in the Eastern District of New York. Florence S. Jacobson, she was born in April 1913 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 103 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Florence S. Jacobson was a prominent leader in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS Church. She served as the 6th General President of the Young Women Organization, providing spiritual guidance for teenage girls throughout the church. She was also a dedicated curator and was instrumental in the restoration of many important historical sites for the LDS Church. Paula Fox, she was born in April 1923 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 93 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Paula Fox was a highly acclaimed and versatile American author of both adult and children's literature. She won the prestigious Newbery Medal for her 1973 children's book, The Slave Dancer, and the Hans Christian Andersen Award for her body of work. Her adult novels, such as the classic Desperate Characters, were celebrated for their sharp, precise prose and their incisive psychological insights, making her a revered writer's writer. John D. Schneider, he was born in March 1937 and he died in March 2017. His age was 80 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. John D. Schneider was an American lawyer and politician. He was elected to the Missouri House of Representatives in 1968 and served until 1970, where he ran for a seat on the Missouri State Senate. Schneider stepped down at the end of his term in 2002 and returned to his private law practice. He was a key figure in state politics for many years, known for his political skill and his dedication to his constituents. Ron Bass. He was born in December 1948 and he died in March 2017. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from a burst appendix. Ron Bass was an American professional wrestler who was a popular villainous character in the 1980s. Billed as the Outlaw, he was known for his rugged cowboy persona, his bullwhip named Betsy, and his brawling style. He was a prominent figure in various wrestling territories and had a memorable run in the World Wrestling Federation, where he feuded with stars like Brutus, the Barber, Beefcake. Bill Hoagland. He was born in June 1930 and he died in March 2017. His age was 86 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. William Bill Hoagland was an American basketball player who was a key member of two legendary championship teams. He was a starting forward on the University of Kansas teams that won the 1952 NCAA National Championship. He later won 2 Olympic gold medals as a member of the United States men's basketball teams in both the 1952 and 1956 Summer Olympics. Bill Hans. He was born in May 1940 and he died in March 2017. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. William Bill Hans was a former Major League Baseball pitcher who was a key member of the Chicago Cubs in the late 1960s. A right-handed pitcher, he was a 20-game winner for the beloved but ultimately unsuccessful 1969 Cubs team. He was a durable and competitive pitcher who was a popular player during a memorable era of Cubs baseball. Shirley Palish. She was born in November 1929 and she died in March 2017. Her age was 87 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Shirley Palish was an American baseball player in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League between 1949 and 1950. She both batted and threw right-handed. She earned herself 2 nicknames while playing for the league, Shirl and Butch. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.